Hi everyone, this is the Law Raven. I would like to talk to you about defamation of character. People tend to ask that question, although randomly they do ask as to whether it's possible for them to sue for defamation of character. But I'm going to break it down for you because it's a question only you can answer based on an assessment that I'm just going to help you make right now about yourself. So here's the thing. Defamation of character essentially means that somebody has said words, they've uttered words, or published words that were calculated to lower your esteem or your reputation in the presence of right-thinking men or in the presence of decent individuals of society. So, when you decide that somebody's words against you have actually amount to defamation of character, first you have to make an assessment. You have to know your worth. That's the first point. Know who you are. Because if you're going to consult an attorney to tell them your reputation you've been defamed, you have to explain who you are in relation to the person that you intend to sue and who you are in relation to the community that you live in or the company in whose presence you were when you were insulted or mistreated and whatever else that may have happened to cause you to believe you've been defamed. So this is one of the reasons why when you talk about defamation of character, you have to be able to demonstrate that you have a reputation to defend. What kind of person are you? How do you relate to your community? How does your community consider you, or in what esteem do they hold you? So it's sort of like you have to narrate your CV or resume. Tell us who you are and how you relate to your community and how that affects you and the relationships that you have around you. So it's a very personal lawsuit to begin with. It's a personal thing to delve into because you have to dig deep. You have to tell your attorney, you have to tell us who you are before we can even get to how the insult or the publication or the words affected you or lowered your esteem before decent individuals of society. Yeah. And then another thing that follows from you defining who you are and you knowing your worth is you have to be specific. It shouldn't just be you assuming that because some words were said in your presence, they were directed at you. Establish a connection between the words that were said and your identity as a person who was there. It must be clear that the words were meant for you and specifically you, that nobody else who was there would have misunderstood the words to mean somebody else apart from you. So that connection is important. You need to establish it. You must also show your loss. That is to say, it shouldn't just be you having your feelings hurt. That happens to almost all of us on a regular basis. Somebody says something, it hurts our feelings, we get that. But when it comes to defamation of character, you must demonstrate the kind of loss that you've incurred as a result. So if you are a business person, you can demonstrate that the words were uttered in the presence of potential customers or existing customers, and as a result it left an impression or it suggested that you were dishonest. For example, if whatever words that were said imply that you are dishonest, automatically you now have to focus on that fact because it may actually affect your business relationships going forward. So you must show the loss. Additionally, you must also show that the meaning of the words that were said was understood by you and those that were present to be defamatory. So you have to focus in on the details of the insult or the details of the words that were said, what they meant, how you interpreted them, and the fact that they were directed at you specifically and nobody else. Then we come down to the loss itself, how much, the quantum of your loss. How much do you believe your reputation is worth? How much do you believe your dignity is worth, and what it will take to restore it? So that's another complex issue, both on the legal aspect, even on the mathematical issue, because you have to demand what you believe your reputation is worth, or your dignity is worth. It's quite a difficult thing to calculate, actually. So you demand what you can, but in the end, the court will adopt its own formula for calculating the extent of your loss based on your worth. So knowing your worth is very important. And another issue that you have to remember, when you say somebody has said defamatory words, you have to demonstrate that those words were actually false, because anybody who's been accused of uttering defamatory words can actually defend themselves fully by demonstrating that those words were true. So when somebody calls you a liar and you decide to sue for defamation of character, be sure that you're not a liar. Because if they can prove that you are a liar, then they walk away scot-free, but they might just sue you for taking them through the trouble of suing them. They might just demand costs, full legal costs, for wasting their time, when you know very well who you are and your worth to society in general. So yeah, if you are going to look at defamation of character objectively or independently, you come to realize it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's for people who have something to lose. On a scale that can be understood by the courts and even by the community that you live in, it is something that shouldn't be difficult to ascertain. Your reputation should precede you, as they always say. So that should speak for you. Your dignity is for everybody, it's a constitutional right. But is it something you can sue for? No, not always. Thanks for watching. I hope that sheds light on this subject. Post questions if you have them. Thanks.